Hello students, welcome to the physics class of class 9. Today we start the new chapter Force and Laws of Motion. Our first topic for today is force. A push or a pull on an object is called force. Effect of force. A force may make an object move from rest, may change the speed of an object if it is moving, may change the direction of motion of an object, may bring about a change in the shape of an object, may cause some or all these effects. So, force on the object may cause all these changes or few of the changes mentioned here. In the picture, we see a boy is pushing a trolley on the floor. A drawer can be pulled to open it. A girl is hitting the ball with a striker. Here also we see by pushing we can change the shape of an object, by pulling also we can change the shape of an object. Next topic, balanced force. When two equal forces act on the same object in the opposite direction and the total force on the object becomes zero and the object do not move, then these two forces will be called balance force. In the picture we see that an object is pulled by two equal force in two opposite directions, so the total force, that is the resultant force, will be F minus F equal to 0. So as the total force on the object is 0, the object will do not move, and we call these two forces as balance forces. Next topic, unbalanced forces. When two unequal forces act on the same object in opposite direction, or one or more than one forces acts on an object in the same direction, the object will move in the direction of resultant force. Then the forces acting on the object are called unbalanced force. So unbalanced force means resultant force on the object is not zero, so the object will move in the direction of resultant force, means in the direction of total force. In the first picture we see two different force act into different direction on the same object. F1 equal to 10 Newton, F2 equal to 8 Newton. So the resultant force, that means the total force, will be 10 minus 8 equal to 2 Newton. So the resultant force will be from left to right direction, which is 2 Newton. So the object will be in motion from left to right. In the second case, we see that the two force F1 equal to 10 Newton and F2 equal to 8 Newton act in the same direction of an object. So the resultant force will be 10 plus 8 equal to 80 Newton from left to right. As the resultant force is from left to right, the object will also move from left to right. Next topic is state of motion. The state of motion of an object is described by its speed and the direction of motion. The state of rest is considered to be the state of zero speed. An object may be at rest or in motion, both are its state of motion. Next, Newton's first law of motion. So before that we come in the book. So in the book we find that Galileo was the first to study about the state of motion and force relation of an object. He take two inclined planes making same angle of inclination here as we see in the picture. He took a ball on the left inclined plane at the top and he released. Then he found that the ball will come down along this inclined plane and it will climb up along this right inclined plane of equal height. And if we gradually decrease the angle of inclination of this right plane here like this, he find that the ball will climb up more distance to make the same height as in the left hand side. And finally, if the inclined plane on the right hand side will be equal to the horizontal, the ball will continue to move until it attains the same height as it did in the left hand side. This study of Galileo was further researched by Isaac Newton and give the three fundamental laws that govern the motion of objects. These three laws are known as Newton's laws of motion. So Newton's first laws of motion is an object maintains in a state of rest or of uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change that state by an applied force. This means an object try to maintain its state of motion, either it is at rest or it is in uniform motion in a straight line. If we do not interfere that motion by an external force, it will continue its state of motion, it will not change. So there is a property of the object that resists the change in state of motion when we try to break it by the application of external force. Here are some activity in the book to show. Make a pile of similar carom coins on a table as shown in figure. We take similar carom coins and put it in this form. Attempt a sharp horizontal hit at the bottom of the pile using another carom coin or the striker. If the hit is strong enough, the bottom coin moves out quickly. Once the lowest coin is removed, the inertia of the other coins make them to fall vertically on the table. This term inertia is the resistance of the object which try to maintain its state of motion. Here is the definition of inertia and mass. There is a resistance offered by an object to change its state of motion. If it is at rest, it tends to remain at rest. If it is moving, it tends to keep moving. This property of an object is called its inertia. The mass of an object is a measure of its inertia. For example, if we kick a football, it flies away. But if we kick a stone of same size with equal force, it hardly moves. This is because mass of the stone is more than that of the football, so it offered more resistance to change the state of motion. So greater is the mass of an object, greater is the inertia, and we require larger force to change its state of motion. Next question is, which of the following has more inertia? A rubber ball and a stone of same size, a bicycle and a train, a 5 rupees coin and a 1 rupee coin. A stone of same size, B a train, and C a 5 rupees coin. As the mass of an object is a measure of its inertia, objects with more mass have more inertia. In all these three examples, we find that these objects have more mass, so this object have more inertia than comparison to the other example given in the question. Second question, explain why some of the leaves may get detached from a tree if we vigorously shake its branches. When the tree's branch is shaken vigorously, the branch attains motion but the leaves stay at rest. Due to the inertia of rest, the leaves tend to maintain its position and hence detaches from the tree to fall down. Next question, why do you fall in the forward direction when a moving bus brakes to a stop and fall backwards when it accelerates from rest? Answer. First one, when a moving bus brakes to a stop. When the bus is moving, our body is also in motion, but due to sudden brakes, the lower part of our body comes to rest as soon as the bus stops, but the upper part of our body continues to be in motion, and hence we fall in the forward direction due to inertia of motion. Second one, when the bus accelerates from rest, we fall backward. When the bus is stationary, our body is at rest, but when the bus accelerates, the lower part of our body, being in contact with the floor of the bus, comes in motion, but the upper part of our body remains at rest due to inertia of rest. Hence, we fall in the backward direction. Next topic is momentum. The momentum p of an object is defined as the product of its mass m and velocity v, that is p equal to mv. Momentum has both direction and magnitude. Its direction is the same as that of velocity v. So momentum is a vector quantity. The SI unit of momentum is kilogram meter per second, kgm s to the power minus 1. Next topic, Newton's second law of motion. The rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. Thank you for today.